Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm back out here and I've got some jugs with me. I'm going to see if I can catch a couple of catfish using live minnows. So as mentioned, I have some live minnows. I got about 4 dozen in there, which ought to hold me up. And if I need a little bit more bait, I went ahead and brought just some frozen minnows as well. But in terms of jugs I'm using, I got some of these tattletail jugs. I only got a couple because I didn't want too much stuff in the boat. And then I have the newer variety of jugs I use, which are these small ones. And there's 20 in this milk crate. That's why I like the nice small, easy to carry around. So this is the type I'm moving to. But anyway, I want to go ahead and get some minnows out, put them on these tattletails. I'll get them out in this small creek in front of me, and then I'm going to move to a few other locations, set a couple of different lines out, maybe do a little bit of limb lining, and see if I can get some catfish. So the reason these are called tattletails is they lay flat like this on the water, and there's a piece of rebar inside. So when a fish yanks on the line, it goes bottom heavy, the foam noodle goes up, and it indicates there's a fish. Just a better visual reference, and it sits higher in the water so it's easier to see. Since I'm only putting 4 noodles back here, I'm going to space them out a little bit farther than normal just so I get a large area. So I'm going to put about 100 yards between them. Normally I'm putting only about 100 feet, and sometimes even as close as 50 feet depending where I'm at. So now I'm going to grab another one. This has got a little bit better sized hook on it, and the way I'm hooking these up is simply I'm going right through the back. I'll show you what I'm referring to. So I have this medium-sized minnow, and I'm simply going to put that hook right through the top of them, and that'll help keep them live a little bit longer. Just like that. Everything's good. You see him still wiggling around. He's good and alive. Simply put him in there, and he's just swimming around just like normal. Alright, I think you got the basic concept. I'm gonna go ahead and set these other 2 out real quick. Alright, going to set out my first slim line. It's pretty simple and straightforward. I just have a little 5/0 size hook, and then probably a couple feet of line. I'm just gonna set this about 1 or 2 feet under the water surface. That ought to be plenty. Put a dead minnow on it and go from there. And hit a few trees along the way. So when dealing with dead minnows, what I normally do is I go through the eye socket, come back around. This is a bit more of a deep sea technique, but it's effective for this dead bait as well. It may even be a little bit overkill, but it will stay on the hook. Now I've gone through that eye socket, I then go through the back, and it's going to be more like a stick bait than anything, but for dead bait it'll be fine. The biggest thing is it just needs to stay on this hook for a little bit. Now it's going to stand up like that. That barb is going to be able to go anywhere it needs to, as you can see there. And all I got to do now is hang it up. I found a branch that has a little bit of give to it. Got my stick bait, so we're going to drop that into the water, like I said, about a foot or 2. You don't need it too deep. Tie it off somewhere like right in there. And I'm going to leave a relatively loose knot. That's going to be a quick indicator. If this is cinched up, that means I probably had a bite and possibly a fish. Just like that. Now that's done, time to move on to one more. If there is one specific indicator for me when I go back to these creeks is if I see alligators, I'm putting jugs out back there somewhere. For whatever reason, it seems like when I see alligators in a location, there's generally decent catfish around, or at least that's held true on my end. I can't really explain why, but I've already seen 2 back here within 2 minutes. So, oh, and there's a third one right over there. I'm going to go ahead, set a couple of jugs, hopefully not catch the alligators and get the catfish instead. As mentioned earlier, I have quite a few of these small jugs now, simply because they are very portable. I can make them a little less expensive than the others, and since they fit in that milk crate, it just makes everything a lot easier to pick up, and quite honestly, the fishing a lot more enjoyable. The easier I can store my gear, especially in a smaller boat, the better. Allows me to get other things in here that I want to, like camera gear, as well as allows everything just be a bit more tidy. I keep about 4 feet of line on these noodles. They're about 2 inches of foam and about 11 inches in length overall. I'm going to grab a live minnow real quick. And I'm just going to do everything like I've done before. Hook it right there at the top. Nice and lively. And these small jugs, when you get even a smaller catfish on, they're a lot of fun to chase down. They don't move. They move around a little bit more than those bigger tattletail. All right, well, I'm going to set out about 10 or so here, and I'll set 10 at one other location, and that'll be it. We'll be done setting jugs out, and then it's time to catch the fish. Well, here I am at the last spot. I've gone to a wider part of this delta system. It's probably about 200 yards across, so I got some stuff shallow in creeks. I then went to a more moderate channel, probably 100 yards across and 8 to 10 feet deep. And now I'm about 15 feet deep of water in these troughs. I haven't been fishing for catfish this year, so I gotta find them. The best way to do that is just go into some different areas, definitely go into some different depths. 15 feet is about as deep as it gets back here unless you go into the main river. So go ahead, set the rest of these out, and then start going in a circle, basically checking each set at a time and rebaiting as needed. Well, fortunately there's one moving right in front of me. I'll try to grab it real quick. See what we have on here. So far no bubbles, so I don't think it's an alligator, although this jug looks pretty torn up. It's a blue cat. Let's get out of this brush a little bit. That's why these gaps are really handy. It'll just wrap that line around, make it really easy to just guide that fish with you. And that way you're not trying to fight trees and everything else. Come on to the front. Oh, this is the perfect eating size. Get this off, put this away. How about that? First one of the day. Check that first set, and just one alligator on a limb line. Fortunately, it broke itself free, but this is a good probably 3-pounder or so. Once again, take another look at them. Perfect size cat. These are the size I really want. Those big ones, fun to catch, but not quite as good for eating just because of mercury and everything like that in the water. Congratulations, first one of the year. Let's check this other one to see if that one will be the second. Definitely something on this one as well. It's moved around a good bit, although I imagine it's wrapped up around a stump or something. Yeah, something's good on here. Hey, another cat. Back out of this brush once again. There we go. Let's see what we got here. I think it's another blue, which I honestly prefer. They eat a little bit better than the channels do. Yep, another blue, perfect eating size. Man, this is starting to come together. Brand new area I've never jugged before, certainly doing better than areas I've jugged previously, so I'm glad I tried a couple new spots out. Get him off the hook and give y'all a better look at him as well. This one's about the same size as that last one. Like I said, another blue. Maybe half a pound less or so, maybe 1 or 2 inches less, but perfect. This is 2 out of 2 lines. I know I'm not gonna have one on them all, but even if I had 3 or 4 of these lines hit out of 10, that's pretty incredible, and definitely a place I'll have to set back in the future. Now this is a bit aggravating. You can actually follow the markings around. Somebody hit that with a pretty shallow prop. Looks like between 8 and 12. 12 pitch. Really annoying when people do that, no reason for it. They're obviously easily marked, and there's plenty of room to go around them, but just part of it. Figured I'd mention that. In case you want to get in jug fishing, you may have to deal with stuff like this, especially on public water. This limb line in front of me is tight, like I said. I'll leave that loop loose, so I think I have something on, and as I come up here with the trolling motor, if it starts moving around, certainly that'll be the case. If bubbles start coming up, it's probably an alligator. If not, then either a snapping turtle or hopefully catfish, although it could be a gar, guarrenal, who knows. Well, sure enough, I had a good catfish on here, yet another eating size, and looks like an alligator got its hands on it, so that may have been what I saw moving with it, and it just moved away. First time this has actually happened to me, where alligators came over and taken it, and it's only been about an hour and a half since I checked these lines. Unfortunately, that's just one of the things, once again, you got to deal with, but good to know there's at least one back here. I still got some jugs where they're floating around, so maybe they can evade the alligators per se. Maybe one of those will have a catfish on, but I'm just gonna get this guy off, throw him back, and grab these. Well, I have another one just off to the side, and I think there is something on it. I'll get on the trolling motor real quick, pull up to it. Goodness, they are swarming. Well, that line frayed off. I managed to grab it before the rest of it went underwater. And yet another cat. Get all these limbs and everything. Pretty dark colored cats back here. Let me get out of this brush and away from these yellow flies for a second. All right, here we have it. Third one, well, fourth one of the day, not counting that unfortunate lost soul. Here we go. A little bit smaller than the others, but I'm glad to finally have one back here. I really didn't know if I was going to get one. I'm gonna go ahead and get him off the hook and the ice chest. And I'm not gonna set these lines out because it's getting a little late and they are so far away from everything else. I'm basically doing a 12 to 13 mile loop. And this little 40 on the back of here and only a 6-gallon tank. I'm kind of pushing as it is. I've already traveled 44 miles and I don't know what range I'm actually gonna be able to get. Hoping around 60, just to have enough to get back to the launch, because it's about 13, 14 miles back there. Once again, take one more look at that catfish. It is a blue cat, even though it is very dark. It almost has the coloration of a channel, but I am 99% certain that it actually is a blue, just looking at that anal fin right there. All right, I found 2 jugs. I need to find 2 more back here, and this set will be complete. Then I can move back to that set that was so successful. I only got one directly in front of me. Looks like might be something on that. Actually, it's coming right at the boat. Something decent must be on it because it's dragging that jug pretty well. Try to get it on this side. Of course, whatever it is, it dropped it. Seems like the story of today, doesn't it? I don't know, it must have had it in its mouth because, I don't know. Maybe something on, but it is small if it is. Or at least it's acting like it. Let's see. A little weight, not much. Small blue. Yeah. A real small blue. Number 5 for the day. That's his first line on this 3rd set. This is the 2nd catfish I've caught in this set. I'm gonna try to keep them. I just gotta be careful about these little fins. They're razor sharp. The smaller they are, the worse they are. You know what? When it comes to this little guy, let him go, let him grow. I think that's the motto we're gonna use for him. Couldn't get too much out of those fillets, so I'll catch him when he's a little bit bigger. Got to give a little bit back, and maybe I'll get a little in return in the future. The ramp is pretty busy, and the flies are attacking me in swarms, so I'll keep it brief. I kept 4 or 5 catfish. Those are in the back of the truck. Had the one that I let go, and then the other one, which just got mangled by that alligator, I just let it loose so it could finish its happy meal. Overall, I ran 66 miles today. And that's pretty darn impressive with a 6-gallon tank, and I was on the water for about 8 hours in order to catch these fish. 40 Tohatsu, not too bad overall. I just kept it about 25 miles per hour at wide open throttle and get about 38. So tried to ease into it, and it's a good thing I did, because when I got back to the boat ramp after running that much, one finger, that's all the gas I have left. So cutting it a little bit close there. But guys, I do hope y'all enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please make sure to share, like, subscribe for more, and as always, thanks for watching.